Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I am your host, Quianna Canada. Welcome back to the Quianna Canada show. Before we get into today's topic, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Remember that your likes and your shares, what it does is it pushes videos like this up in the algorithm. It tells the algorithm that videos like this are important where they may not be pushed up, and so I think it's important for us to consider the contents of this video and to consider if you find it useful, to consider leaving a comment or pushing the video up by liking it or subscribing to this channel. There's going to be 3 issues that I want to talk about this evening. The first issue is updates that I'm making to this channel for the new year. The second is an open door policy online that I have. And then the third is protest happening in the Republic of Ireland, specifically in Dublin, regarding direct provision and the treatment of asylum seekers. Now, if you have noticed on my channel, I have been experimenting with thumbnails to try and find a better fit for the channel for the New Year's, and I think I found a thumbnail that I like. And so I think that I am calling this, these new thumbnails, Quianna's Shelf. As you can see, there it's a shelf with pictures on there, and so it's on display for us to really cogitate on and to think about. It's just really an extension of the Quianna Canada show, something that I am trying new in 2026. Hopefully this is going to be that this will take off and it will be of value to the viewership. Second, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that I have an online open door policy with regards to the content that I upload and that I publish. Now, if I have articulated something that you believe is inaccurate and that you would like to challenge and for me to reconsider having it online, feel free to contact me via Facebook, via Messenger, for a video call. To reiterate, I have an open door online policy and I talk about a lot of issues, and I recently had a call with someone that I feel we met common ground, and I think that that's what's important, right? And so I am not going to be removing any content from my channel if I receive an email that is vague and ambiguous from an unknown person, which I have received in the past. For example, an unknown person has asked me to remove an entire video where I talk about several different issues. And when I responded back to them and I said, well, can you tell me what your name is and what portion of the video you're referencing and what portion of the video that you have a problem with, they couldn't articulate it, and they didn't tell me essentially what they had a problem with. Now, this is in the past. This was like months ago. I'm not talking about anything recent. And so because of that, ladies and gentlemen, I am making the decision not to respond to email threats. Now, I would urge, or it is my policy to authenticate your identity And so that's why I would want you to send me a Facebook message so that we can talk on Messenger and we can talk about the content. If not, then I just write it off as Ipsy Dixit and we'll just keep it moving. Now, I want to distinguish between my investigative series, which is very new, which I plan to do, and Quianna's shelf. So my investigative series, to reiterate, it's a new extension to my channel, which I am developing and doing. And then there's Quianna's shelf, which I essentially want to be more adversarial and thought-provoking. Now, the investigative series that I'm doing, the purpose of that is to be sanative, to be healing for the victims, whether that's myself or other victims, and to get to the root cause of an issue that I'm looking into. It is not to harm anybody, it's not to defame anybody, it's not to cause further grief or affliction upon a person. It's really the purpose of the investigative series is to promote healing. Now, with Quianna's shelf, which as you can see, there's a white shelf with picture frames, and then there are images within that. That is essentially meant to be more adversarial and to have a deep discussion about the frame that is put on display for us to cogitate on or to speak about at length. Now, let's see, what else was there about that? What I also plan to do on this channel, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially with Quianna's shelf is to have adversarial interviews. And I'm going to explain that later, but I want to test perspectives and to test ideas and opinions, and I think it would be fun to do that. Now, in the Republic of Ireland, there is currently protest happening in Dublin from an organization called Say No to Direct Provision. And they are protesting the deportations of asylum seekers in the Republic of Ireland. So I believe yesterday was the first day of their hunger strike, and you already know my philosophy and my opinions on hunger strikes. I will link that in the description box below. We don't need to regurgitate that or to go in detail about that, but essentially that's what the leaders and the members of Say No to Direct Provision are doing. They're doing a hunger strike to protest deportations that are happening within Dublin, the Republic of Ireland. Now, they have protested at the Irish Refugee Council, which is an organization that is meant, I guess, in some respect or capacity to represent the collective interest of asylum seekers and refugees. And they've also protested at immigration and asylum solicitor KOD Lyons. And I think in moments like this, there is a group infusion that tends to take place where a number of people existing in a mood of seriality are suddenly and spontaneously united for a common purpose or praxis. And we see this often when it comes to deportations or policies that tend to affect asylum seekers as a whole. Now, group infusion allows persons to overcome their isolation through participation in a collective project. Now, what is the collective project here, ladies and gentlemen. The collective project is protesting or the hunger strikes, right? And I think from their perspective, there is a united front that is put on to fight a particular issue or to challenge a specific policy. And there's some messages or posts that say no to direct provision have published on their platform, which is Facebook. And so I want to read that to you so you get a clear understanding about what they're doing, why they're doing it. And in one of their messages, they speak about, paraphrasing, that specific asylum seekers are getting pathways while no other asylum seekers are. They're asking for Amnesty 2.0. I think that's the way they put it on their Facebook platform, which in the past, what the Republic of Ireland had given amnesty to a large amount of asylum seekers. I believe that transpired in 2022 when the Republic of Ireland did that. So if you were in the direct provision system for quite some time, you were given leave to remain, and I believe that was 1.0. Now they're asking for 2.0. They're asking for another large amnesty. The second post that they uploaded, they said, quote, "Today we visited the Irish Refugee Council, who gets 25% of their budget from Minister Jim to be silent about the deportation of children. Several letters were sent for a meeting in 2025, but no reply. Protests will continue until they protect asylum seekers and return Minister Jim's money," end quote. Now, essentially, I think what they're saying is that, paraphrasing, is that they are, Irish Refugee Council was given a budget to protect asylum seekers or to advocate for them, to speak out on their behalf. And I think in their personal opinions and their perspective, the way that they're looking at it, they don't believe that is happening. And so they're asking essentially for Irish Refugee Council to return that money to the minister, since in their personal view that money is not being allocated to represent all asylum seekers. Now, they did upload another post to their Facebook account, and it says this, quote, "Some supporters ask us why so essentially they're asking why they're shaming KOD Lions. And they said that for 6 months, they have been trying to engage with the civil society members on the list by asking them to sit down and engage the government, since they are the largest asylum seeking support organization in Ireland. But in their personal opinion and from their perspective, these organizations and the solicitor firm, which is KOD Lions, has refused to engage with them. And so they have stated that they have no option but to send their members, which is asylum seekers, to their offices to protest the deportations that are happening in the Republic of Ireland. Now, they did add a screenshot of the manifesto that several organizations have put their logos on, and to reiterate, their argument is that these organizations and law firms are protecting only a group of asylum seekers and not all asylum seekers. Now, I can't, just a moment. I can't testify to the authenticity of those posts. To reiterate, I am not speaking about this to assert the truth of the matter. I am speaking about this so that you know that these posts are seen and the statements are uploaded for us to read and for us to cogitate on. Now, I did send a Say No to Direct Provision a message on Facebook because I want to learn more about their perspective and to have a deep discussion about what's happening. As of right now, it's almost 5 in the evening. They haven't responded back. Maybe they're busy, but this is essentially what I said. Dear leaders of Abolish Direct Provision, I'm writing to you today as a keen observer of your recent protest and advocacy regarding the request to abolish direct provision in Ireland. So if you don't know what direct provision is, to reiterate, it is a system that houses asylum seekers in accommodation in the Republic of Ireland. The Republic of Ireland is different from Northern Ireland. They share some of the same cultural and historical and political beliefs, ideas, opinions, essentially the political parties in the Republic of Ireland is the same in Northern Ireland, but the Republic of Ireland is its own separate country from Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland is part of the UK. And so they're raising concerns, so I said, and the concerns raised about inadequate legal support for NGOs and solicitors. I'm currently developing a new section on my YouTube channel dedicated to in-depth discussions on pressing social issues. My aim is to provide a platform for diverse perspectives, and I believe your organization's insights would be invaluable to what I am seeking to do. It's not going to be a series. It's essentially more so going to be discussions that I want to have with opposing parties or proponents of issues that I share or opponents of issues I don't share. I would be honored to host representatives from Abolish Direct Provision for an interview. My approach to these issues is designed to be adversarial rather than inquisitorial. The intention behind this format is to create an environment where your views and any counterpoints I may present can be thoroughly tested and robustly defended. While this is not intended to be a gotcha interview, it does require participants to argue their case persuasively. I believe this rigorous engagement can ultimately strengthen the arguments and perspectives you wish to convey to a wider audience. The interviews will be conducted via Zoom, recorded, and subsequently uploaded to my YouTube channel. You will also be provided with a copy of the recording, which you are welcome to upload to your own platforms. To reiterate, the adversarial nature of this discussion is designed for intellectual rigor and clarity, not for online sensationalism. If you're interested in engaging in online discussions about the important issues you are currently advocating for, please respond at your earliest convenience to discuss potential dates and times. Lastly, communication can be arranged via phone, as I generally do not communicate about these matters via email. Now, I anticipate, ladies and gentlemen, that I may not get a response from Abolish Direct Provision because in the Republic of Ireland, as well as in Northern Ireland, political issues are so polarized. Now, the United States issues are polarized there as well. Of course, we have two political parties, the duopoly, which is the Republican Party, and the Democratic Party. And essentially, liberal issues and liberal perspectives don't always intersect with conservative issues or Republican issues in the United States. Howsoever, in my own experience and from my own perspective, in Northern Ireland as well as in the Republic of Ireland, these political issues are so polarized where you can't get opposing parties to come together for a conversation. Now, I have made several attempts to do that in Northern Ireland, to sit across from the table from people that I disagree with, and to some capacity to have discussions with people I do disagree with and have them interact with people that they disagree with. And it's just something that I think is an anomaly here in the Republic of Ireland, in Northern Ireland, here in Belfast. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to expound on this issue, it can be so polarizing that if you hold a specific opinion or belief about a political issue, you can be ostracized or isolated entirely, which I think is in any country or any democracy. But in Belfast, there is the left as well as so there's liberal perspectives as well as conservative perspectives, and it is really difficult to bring conservative perspectives and liberal perspectives in the middle. And when I have attended discussions about political issues here in Belfast, whether that's in a university or in a group setting, it's always it's always the same people in the group. And what I mean by that is always one ideology in a group speaking, bouncing the same ideas off of each other. And in my personal opinion, I don't think that that's really the way to make change. I think that we really have to have discussions with people we disagree with and sit across from people that we disagree with and have these discussions with people that we disagree with. And sometimes when you do that, people are not going to agree with you. They're not going to accept your side of the argument, and that's okay. But at least you were able to have that discussion. And it's only by meeting people where they are and making the attempt to have a discussion about topics that we disagree with, can we really understand what's really within a person's mind about the political issues in which they support. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, Say No to Direct Provision will reach out and respond. Again, they may not respond because I don't have a large platform. I am new to uploading videos to YouTube, and I will continue to try and have these engaging conversations in Belfast and across to across to the Republic of Ireland, because I think that they're necessary, and I'll continue to do that. As a last issue, I really apologize for the cacophony, or the cacophony, however you want to pronounce it, that you hear. My room is like in front of a street, and so you can hear the cars driving by. And on one of the videos that was really well, not resounding, but you can hear it. It was quite you can hear the reverberations of cars going back and forth as they drive. And I sincerely apologize that there is no insulation to that, but again, hopefully I will bring interesting topics for you to cogitate on and to think about it. And if there's something that you want me to talk about, feel free to contact me via Facebook. Again, you can find me on Facebook by searching for my name. That's Quianna Canada. That's Quianna, last name Canada. I only have 2 social media accounts that I have access to, which is my Facebook account, as well as my YouTube account, which is at Real Quianna Canada. And you can contact me on either one of those. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.